Cool, this is a stroll through Bedstuy, Brooklyn, and the property tax changes that we're going to see thanks to this commission. YouTube. Let's look at our own channel here. Should be showing live. Why is it not showing live? So we're looking at our live channel right now. Live chat. Why is it not showing? Oh, maybe you have to turn it around. Not showing that. Oh, I want this maybe. How do you get it to turn around? Okay. I want it to show the other way. Go the other way. Oh, I think that's it. Cool. So it should be showing the outside now. Yes. So let's see. This is kind of cool. Very cool. I think this is a video of a video. There it is, live stream on the live stream. This is all Brooklyn, so we're here at Van Buren and Throop Avenue. Let's take a stroll over to Lafayette Avenue. Hi, good morning. Good to see you. That's our neighbors at Quincell. And let's just walk up Lafayette. Lafayette after Marquis de Lafayette. We promised to talk about about property tax. Well, New York City and Brooklyn. Why is it jumping around so much? New York City and Brooklyn are coming up against a big property tax change. And we're going to talk about it. It's not good to see what's happening. Oh, that's cool. Look at that, that's Brooklyn. At its best. cool. There seems to be a delay in the video. That's interesting. And what we're seeing is property tax, and it's going to go up. And that's what the Property Tax Commission final report is showing. We're going to be affected badly in Brooklyn. People in Staten Island and Queens and certain parts of mostly certain parts of Queens, certain parts of most of Staten Island will see their property tax go down. Co-ops and condos will also see their property tax go down mostly. A big change is if this passes, first of all. A big change is the fact that Class 2 property, which are co-ops and condos and small rentals, will no longer have this crazy valuation where the market value means nothing, or almost it does not mean market value. It means some capitalization rate compared to something else, and it'll just go to normal market value. Now, normal market value has a issue for Class 1 property because the normal market value for Class 1 property, which are 1, 2, 3 family homes, is very high, especially here in Brooklyn because everybody wants to live here. So what's happening is the market value will now mean something. Before it meant nothing, almost nothing, unless you're at your maximum assessment, which most Brooklyn houses are not in the areas that are rising in price. Now, if you're way out in the outskirts of Brooklyn, then yes, all that stuff matters, and your property tax may go down a little bit. There's maps on nyc.titleforce.org that show all this. People that are in blue have low, and they're going to go up, and people in red have high assessment, and they're going to go down. This is Marcus Garvey in Lafayette. .30 degrees, which makes a big difference. Marcus Garvey, I think, used to be called Sumner, and I love property tax. And so what's going to happen is co-ops and condos should pay attention because their property tax might go down. The Class 1 property, which is 1, 2, and 3 family homes in Brooklyn, most of them will go up, especially Bedstuy. Park Slope's going to skyrocket through the roof. The website, nyc.titleforce.org, look for property tax changes. You can search on owner name, owner, could be LLC, whatever it is that is the owner, or address. And it's a fairly nice search engine to find this, and then you can also search in Google. Just put titleforce.org or something like that to make it clear to Google you want to search that. A lot of it's in Google, millions of pages. Here's beautiful properties here that are going to have their taxes go through the roof. Now, there's going to be exemptions for homestead. That's what they call when you are owner-occupied. But a lot of these houses are no longer owner-occupied, I believe, and so they rent them out, and they're going to get hit. If your property tax now is 2,000, it's going to probably go to 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. It changed from market value to from assessed value, which had a limit, to market value, which has no limit. So every year, the Department of Finance, I don't know how they do it, seems to be able to give market values for 1 million properties. Hard to fight. Now, what's going to happen is there's going to be a cottage industry of fighting property tax now. They made a system where you couldn't fight it at all to a system where everybody's going to fight, and it'll be more like Nassau County. So this is not good, or it might be good for the lawyers and the tax lawyers and the tax certiorari people and maybe that's one of the benefits of it for the tax lawyers. I have to say that this is troubling because it's not really in the news and it's not really talked about. And they did it between mayors. They published the report between mayors. We asked for examples. They give examples finally after 3 years of chitter chatter. I actually said right on their feedback, can we have examples? I wrote to all of them. They don't even have a Twitter page, nothing. And we write to them, or we say it to them, and I have to say one person, Alan, I forget his last name, from Staten Island, he actually responded and said there will be examples, and then maybe about a half a year later, or a year later, we got examples. Now, the final report is interesting and it does have examples, and I highly recommend that you look at at least the executive summary. But the best place to go is nyc.titleforce.org and just look for what my property tax will be. Of course, that doesn't have exemptions because that's a special case for you in particular, but all you have to do is put in your name or put in your neighbor's name or put in any address, or you can look up Eric Adams, which we're very close to Eric's house here. This area of Bedstuy is very beautiful, and things are happening. All the buildings are being renovated, which is cool. And another discussion is about why this all happened. Well, in 1980, they passed a property tax law that stopped assessment increases, had a cap on it. Now, that was a 6% cap. It changed over the years. It was 18%, then it was 10%, and then I think it's down to net. Oh no, the assessment ratio. Yeah, they put a few different laws here. There was assessment ratios, and this is our special area. One day I'll explain that. So not only were there assessment ratio caps, but there were also assessment increase caps. And one of them, let's focus on class 1 property, 1, 2, and 3 family homes, which is probably what most people are listening care about. And what happened is, at this point in time, it's changed over the years, and you can go to the Wikipedia page, S7000A on Wikipedia, and read the laws and read the summary. But what's happened is, it was at 6%. The assessment ratio, which means the assessed value over the market value, cannot be more than 6%. And the assessed value cannot go up more than 6% per year, which is very confusing. The same 6%, but it doesn't have any relationship to each other. Now, What this new proposal is saying is throwing that all out. Throw all caps out, and then we'll just basically stick to the market value. So if your market value goes from 1 million to 2 million, boom, your property tax will increase 100% because that's a 100% increase. They somehow in their infinite wisdom have allowed for the senior exemption to stay and the veterans exemption to stay in their proposal. Remember, this is just a proposal. It is not law. It's probably going to take 5 years for it to become law. They've also talked about a transition period of 5 years, I believe. I don't know how that's going to look on the property tax bill. They're giving no examples of bills. They're just giving numbers. And this is a cool place. This is the back of the plumbing place. This is Van Buren Street in Brooklyn. I highly recommend people come to Brooklyn. And maybe one drawback is the property tax. So if you come here, you might want to fight for the continuation of property taxes the way they are, because remember, New York City not only has property tax, but has income tax. And it's one of the only cities that has income tax. I don't know any other that has income tax. And what's happening is we're going to get taxed like Long Island and Westchester, and we'll get the income tax, which they don't get. We have a New York City specific income tax. And that seems a little bit too much. Will people want to live here? What will happen to the market values in Brooklyn if the property tax is the same as Westchester? People may want to move to Long Island, Westchester, right? And I'm going to stay as far as I can see, but the homestead exemption has to be very high because owner-occupied property should not be forced out, right? You people can get together. There is a website, tony.brooklyncoop.org, and we can fight this thing. Your council people are very uninformed of this, in my opinion, and so you have to fight yourself. You can't allow just like they say about health, you have to do it yourself. You can't depend on your doctor. The doctor, all they want to do is give you medicine and charge you something. Insurance wants you to, I don't understand why insurance wants you to be sick, but doctors and hospitals seem to want you to be sick, and all they need operations and cutting. But the simplest thing is, I know this is a tangent, but health and Brooklyn go together, is that a simplest thing to get energy and to restore health is fasting. Fasting, I've learned recently on YouTube, there's a few doctors like Dr. Jim Natus in Florida and Dr. I forget his other name, Jason Fung, I think, in Canada. And it's even Dr. Oz talks about it, which is very big station, CBS or something like that. It's very important. They think they are, but I think the YouTube doctors are even more important. There's no money in fasting, so no one's going to tell you about it. Fasting gives you energy. Fasting, he recommends, he's a doctor, a cardiologist. He's looked at people's arteries, and he knows what happens to your arteries when you eat processed foods. Did you know that processed foods includes things like whole wheat bread? I never thought about that, but he said flour is not a natural thing. It's been manufactured, right? It's processed. and especially the breads, the whole wheat breads that you buy in the store, because they're not whole wheat. They're some whole wheat. They put whole wheat. They say 100% whole wheat, but some of them say whole wheat, and they're not whole wheat. They put white flour. The whole point of these things is preservation. The people that are selling want to preserve the item on the shelf, because everything that goes bad on the shelf is losses for them, right? So they don't want losses. So what do? They put preservatives in there, and that's what hydrogenated oils are. That's what, sorry to tangent from property tax, but health, you can't pay your property tax if you're not healthy. They put hydrogenated oils in there. They put nut seed oils in there. They put sugars in there. They put fats in there. They put salts in there. And he's been talking that salt is not as bad as people say. Hi, hi, hi. Morning. And so they put salts in there. They put, especially these nut seed oils. This is a new thing that's been created by well, not too new, but here's another one for sale. The Indian oil, they call it vegetable oil, but it's made from nuts and seeds. And then there's olive oil too, which is fruit. And all these things are troubling because they are not natural. They're highly processed. He said, Dr. Gymnatis said, if you looked at a factory that was making this stuff, you would never eat it. They have to color it yellow to make it edible, or to make you think it's edible. He said the history of nutseed oils was cottonseed. Cottonseed was left over. They didn't know what to do with it. This is what he said, and I have to do my own research. Then they said, well, let's make a lubricant out of it. And they used it in the Ford motor factories to lubricate the machines. And they still had leftovers, so they said, let's make oil out of it and feed it to people. Well, that's what they did. And they created all this industry of corn oils and cottonseed oils and who knew canola oil. Do you even know what a canola is? There's no such thing as a canola. What is a canola? And the end result was that in the 70s, I believe it connected with Dwight Eisenhower's heart attack, according to Dr. Gymnatis, is a man named Ansel Keys came up with a diet for the government, and that diet attributed heart attacks to fats and saturated fats. Now, we have to discuss that. I think eating high in the food chain is not a good idea, so I don't agree with some of these doctors that say, oh, fats are okay, meat is okay. That's pretty high on the food chain, and the higher you are on the food chain, if you eat a cow that's been eating corn or things like that, or even grass that has a lot of toxins in it, let's say they are, I don't know, maybe some grasses don't have toxins, but it's got to be the case that this cow's been alive for, I don't know, 28, right? But these plants don't live 20, 30, 40 years. A potato grows in the ground, it's not 20, 30, 40 years, it's a season. And so it can't be accumulating as many toxins as something that's been there for 20, 30, 40 years. And the end result is that you're better off eating low on the food chain. Anyway, we're going to wrap this up with the property tax closeout. I highly recommend that you stay healthy, fast. We'll talk more about fasting next time on our next stroll through Bedstuy 2022. You know what's coming up is the tax commission. So New York City every year has this dance with the tax commission, and you'll get a notice of property value January 15th, 2022. It's coming up in a few days, and I highly recommend you look at your notice of property value. How did that happen? And if you don't look at it, you're going to miss out, because sometimes they drop exemptions, star exemptions, they make mistakes. The Department of Finance is not the best in the world, and so I would highly recommend you look at it and go to nyc.titleforce.org to check out what your new property tax. We're going to add a feature where it shows your current property tax approximately, because they don't publish that, and it already shows your assessed value. And then what we'll do is we'll publish the estimated new tax. So the estimated new tax is already there, and you just have to search for what's the property tax changes. So please join the mailing list at tony.brooklyncoop.org. tony.brooklyncoop.org. nyc.titleforce.org. And we'll say peace out. Let me just do a screencast thing. Try out the screencast. I think this works too, is I can do this, and what is this? No, I think I have to, I think I have to stop it to make it do a screencast. So it'd be nice if you could switch it. Are you sure you want to stop streaming? Yeah, I'm gonna see. I'll start another stream with the screen showing the actual screen. I think I can do that. All right, peace out. Go to nyc.titleforce.org and tony.brooklyncoop.org and check it out. And we have to fight this property tax change, because there's going to be no caps in Brooklyn